and then hit the stream button, and I believe we're good.
All right. So, dare I ask, are we live now?
Are we live? I think so. Hey, everybody.
Could it be that we actually started this pre-show in advance of the hour? I was going to say at 4 o'clock, but it's 1 o'clock for you.
4 minutes in advance. Pretty impressive.
Doing my happy dance.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show, the pre-show. This is Are We Live Now?
And I would say hello if you are here, and you're here live during our little pre-show warm-up.
I think
seems to be a smaller crew than usual.
I think we're so thrown off by being early that we don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like,
we're supposed to talk?
How do we do this? How do we do something that's successfully on time?
Yeah, gotta fill the 3 minutes with something. How awkward does this feel?
No, this is great. You know the problem. Oh,
hey, we have Greg from Ontario, Canada. What part of Ontario, Greg? I am also in Ontario right now, where we say the word washroom, which I got teased about before. And there, I just said another Canadian word, or pronunciation.
Teased?
So, well, you kind of poked fun at my use of the term washroom, did you not?
No, I didn't. Our guest did. I did not.
But you said, I also have to go to the washroom.
Oh, you heard that? I thought you'd left by then. All right, fine. I was making fun of you.
That's because I didn't know what I was being teased for. And then when you said it, and I was like, oh, that's what he's teasing me about, because I said washroom, not bathroom.
Hey, Ron. You're right on time, sir. Hello.
All right. So Greg is about half an hour north of Toronto. So half an hour north. Oh, so maybe, in the York area, Vaughan area. I'm here. Anyway, I'm in Waterloo. That's where I am streaming from right now. So it's great to have another Ontarian. And I see Ron is here. Ron is also in Ontario. So it's total Ontario domination. Although,
well, Kathy
is in California.
Kathy is from Modesto. Hello, Kathy. I'm from Sacramento. So
it's the battle of Ontario and California.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there also an Ontario, California?
I don't think so. There's a Los Angeles, there's a San Francisco, there's a Dublin. That's from Ireland.
I think there's an Ontario. I know there's an Ontario somewhere in the States, because when I'm looking for weather, occasionally I get one in the US. Oh, and Greg says, yeah, I had something delivered there by mistake once to the wrong Ontario.
Oh, well, on behalf of California, I apologize, Greg.
And our guest, Devon, who we'll hear from soon, she's got some ancestors in Ontario as well. This is fun. And I see, Greg, you went to UW, so you know Waterloo very well. I worked at Laurier for many years down the street. This is exciting.
Who went to the California college system? Huh? Who's a UC Davis alum? Anybody an Aggie out there? UC Davis Aggie? Go Broncos. Go overpriced parking everywhere. I love my college experience.
I love that that's the salient part, is the cost of parking.
There's no really parking. Funny. And when you found it, you would be like, oh, an Oasis, I can put my car. And then it was all overpriced. And you're like, I can't afford that. No wonder there's an Oasis there. It's an expensive Oasis that has a Four Seasons on top of it. I can't stay at a Four Seasons.
We found something to talk about.
Ooh, Texas A&M grads. Give them Aggie. We're real Aggies. Oh, I did not go to Texas A&M. I hear it's a great school. Did not go.
Our countdown timer has stopped, Paul.
Oh,
you know
no.
What that means?
This isn't my fault. This is an engaging audience. This is an audience that's interesting to hang out and talk with, and it's their fault. No, it's not. It's my fault. All right. Shall we start a show?
We shall. Let's do this.
Goodbye! So very foolishly, I realized I said goodbye as we went to the title card. So I was like, I better very quickly from the title card get back to this so people aren't like, well, that's the show. I guess it's 4 minutes of
It's a
aimless
wrap.
banter.
Hey, we learn. This is all about this new live streamer experience, and this is the whole reason that we are here. Although I think we're stretching a little bit today because we are talking to someone who is a bit more experienced than our typical guests.
But here's the great thing. Our typical guests and us all knew. This guest, more experience for sure, and I think her story is fantastic. And I think it gives you a great something to look at in the future, like where you're going to get to, where you can get to, and how she got there with her team, which I think is awesome. So
Yeah, I'm really excited to chat with Devon. And before we do, maybe let's do a little check-in and see how the last week went. How did everything go for you, Paul? Oh, wait. What is this segment called?
oh, this segment is called a lot of gunshots, the good, the bad, and the meh.
All right, let's kick it off, Paul.
Well,
was your
here's the thing. I get distracted, so I took notes on the things that were good. Last week was a lot of fun. Sunday, I gave myself permission just to sit down at my computer. On one monitor, I had football. On the other monitor, my Stream Deck. And I, for 5 hours, was tinkering, cleaning up my vMix, making my Stream Deck pretty. I have buttons now which help me like reconfigure Windows because I sat here and I was like, what do I have the most problems doing during streaming? And then what can I do to make that a push button fix that I won't have to be scrambling and finding buttons? So I found a little plug-in app on Stream Deck that allows you to pull up any window on your computer and at a custom size. So, which is hugely helpful. Such a huge help.
So, just as a little follow-up, because
Sure.
maybe there are people there in our audience and watching either live or the replay who might be curious. So you have a Stream Deck and you use it with vMix. My follow-up question is, you mentioned a plugin with Stream Deck. Is that connected to vMix, or is it just works with your computer? It's a command for your computer.
It is just a command for the computer. So I can actually, if you want, I can bring it up and show you.
Let's do it.
I set up a webcam. Now, I did set up the webcam originally.
Do you have a one button
If
to
people
show
wanted to
us?
see my
Oh, look
cat.
at that.
My little
The
cat
cat
sleeping.
cam.
So I'll grab it. So sorry for motion sickness. So here's, probably can't see it very well. That's my Stream Deck. These buttons right here pop up a window. So let me pull back. Sorry, this is horrible. If I want my wavelink to come up, I can just push that, and then it comes up exactly where I want it. And if I want my Chrome to pop up,
Yeah.
it can pop up right there.
Look at that.
And then I can go back to my vMix.
That's awesome. I was sharing with our mutual friend Ron that you are like a sponge with this information when it comes to learning all the tools and the tricks in order to improve your streaming. And you also are really open to teach everyone else. As soon as you learn something, you take that sponge and you say, hey, everyone, this is what I learned, which is awesome. I think that's an amazing quality.
Here's the thing. As soon as I learn a trick, I like to give it back to people. I like to turn it around. I like to turn tricks. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So if I can help people, I'll turn tricks.
You heard it here first, folks. This is not suitable for work.
Nope.
All right.
How about you? What's going good on your streaming life?
So I think I mentioned last week I was going to take a little bit of a pause and figure out timing and where I want to stream to, whether I want to continue with Facebook or if I'd like to pivot towards YouTube. Although last week after our conversation with Jess, I was a little intrigued about Twitch there. However, I haven't figured that out. So I've taken this little mini pause. I also thought maybe right around now people aren't paying that much attention because there's some pretty significant things going on in the world. And so the good for the week I will choose is not related to my stream, but it's actually I joined one of your streams last week where you had a special guest of Callie Fabro on. And the stream was fun. But the best part of that stream was her grilled cheese sandwich that she described on the stream. And it sounded so good that the next morning I went out and I bought all of the stuff so that I could make, it was a sourdough bread with brie, jam, and apples that are sauteed in a little bit of butter and cinnamon. Put that all together and grill it. It was amazing. And I know that's not about streaming. However, it's one of those things that you never know what you're going to get on a live stream. And I have shared with Callie that I think when she starts streaming, which I think is soon, I would love for her to share her different grilled cheese sandwich creations because she is very good at putting together some fancy combinations.
Yeah, you took a picture and you posted it and it looks amazing. So I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds really good.
Yeah, so for those of you who did not get to watch Paul's stream and see the sandwich, please do try it, and you can always let us know if you gave that a try. And when Callie's live, we will hopefully talk to her. I would love to have her on the show and share what she's doing.
Greg, you are right.
And I see Greg says, sounds like a very adult grilled cheese sandwich. It is. It just takes it to the next level, and it really was an experience.
It is a grilled cheese on steroids. She didn't suggest smashing up steroids and putting them into the grilled cheese, but it is a grilled cheese on steroids.
So Paul, what is your bad?
So my bad, it's not okay, let me go and make sure I'm saying the right thing.
Check in your notes.
Check in my notes. So it's not really super bad, but I thought it was more interesting. And it doesn't have a ton to do with live streaming, but it does have to do with creativity, which I think affects live streamers. I know it affects me. A few months ago, I was told, you know what you should do? You should take cold showers. When you take cold showers, it really wakes you up. So I started taking cold showers exclusively. Then, last week, I started taking some warm showers because it's getting cold outside. I'm like, I need some warmth in my life. So I started taking warm showers, and I started getting really creative thoughts in the showers. And I was like, wait a second, why is this happening? Oh yeah, because science says when you take showers in warm water, it puts your brain in a very creative space, or it can. And I just thought it was interesting how quickly I changed to what I thought was the right thing to do. But by doing that, taking cold showers, I really lost this huge opportunity of creativity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's not what I expected you to share, but I like that story because you are noticing a shift, and I'm wondering if the cold showers were a distraction. Like it was just, you just needed to survive. And so your body just shut off that cognitive functioning and your executive functioning maybe at the front of your brain. And then when you aren't distracted by the temperature of the water, then your mind can just wander because you can just, freeze up that space. So that would be my theory. So I think it makes sense.
I think your theory is genius. I think that's exactly what happened, because all of a sudden the last few days I've been having all these great ideas. And I'm like, what a weird thing to have cut off from myself because I thought this path that somebody told me was the right one. So it was interesting. So it's just
now I've heard about having those cold showers, and I think that stress on the body can be something that can be helpful for our bodies, but maybe there's some sort of in between, or maybe there's a compromise that you can find. But I'm glad that your creativity has been restored. That is exciting.
I wanted to try to find like a weird bad one because I was like, oh, I could talk about, and then I was like, that's kind of weird, but I think also kind of helpful in a way. So there you go. How about you? What's happening? What's bad in your life, Kat?
So the bad, I didn't do a stream this week, but I would say the bad is that I am a little bit blank on some of the decisions. So I really need to, I think, commit to some time to sit down and brainstorm. Now, some of the things to think about, whether it's type of platform, that's easy. You can kind of come at that from a practical standpoint. But when it comes to content, I think that one's a little trickier because it does involve a little bit of trial and error. And so I think it's a roadblock right now. And so that's my bad. And I guess what's your meh for this past week?
My meh was I started editing stream elements. So when people put exclamation mark deep questions in the stream, they will be given a answer, or they will given a option, like, for instance, unicorns or dragons. So, things that kind of like will hopefully get the people in the chat to respond to different questions. But it's not working as well as I hoped. So it's kind of meh because I like the idea. I think it will engage the audience more, but the implementation, not quite there.
Yeah. Do you have it now? I see.
No.
I see Devon is trying.
Couple things. One, it'll be exclamation mark deep questions. And then also number 2, I only have it set up on my own personal channel right now. However, if you would like deep questions over here, we can set stuff up for that as well. But we
I'm
can
having
talk about
flashbacks to is it Jack Handy? Deep thoughts.
Yeah. We can have deep thoughts.
Like cold showers and creativity don't mix.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting booed by our guest. That is awesome.
And hissed, not just booed.
Yeah, we get the double punch.
Wow, the old double punch. How about you? What's going on? What's meh happening?
I think it's probably a combination. I think I feel meh that have that little roadblock going on. So I feel like I don't have a lot to offer this week because I've taken that short pause. And this is my only live stream for the week. But I love this live stream. So that's
I do too.
That's pretty fun.
I was thinking, this is something I always look forward to every week. So yeah, thanks. Thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys are showing up and coming along for the ride. So, do you think it's time?
Yes.
To bring on our guest, even though she's boo hissing us.
So, you know her from the comments because she turned on us, but we're still gonna bring her on. She runs Family History Fanatics, and when she's not working on that channel, she's booing other live streamers. Please welcome to the show, Devon Noel.
I wanted to see the whole feature and don't have it working. Okay. Anyway,
that's why it's.
I'm trying to figure out where I see rooms to be.
That's why it's a meh. I haven't yet figured out how to make it work. I know up here how to make it work, but
maybe you dangled that carrot. You need to flip it around and say, it's not working yet. This is what I want to do. Whereas you changed it and you said, I worked on this thing, and then Devon got excited.
Yeah, I did. I was going to try it out. It was really exciting.
I take that on. I did it. I caused it. I'm sorry.
You boo hits because you said, I have it on my personal channel. If you maybe kind of want it over here, that was really the trigger for the boo hiss.
Oh,
like,
that was
of course we want it over here. So.
Okay, all right. I know your triggers now. I know your triggers. It's helpful.
Give the people what they want.
She's great and usually very nice, says Greg Clark.
See, I brought my cheering section, Greg, so that way I could have a boost.
Also, real quick, important to mention, Timothy says unicorns over dragons. So important to note.
Oh, true. I missed that question. That was pretty deep.
That's pretty deep. Devon, Devon, you have over 30,000 followers on your channel.
Yes.
Which is phenomenal. That's,
Thank you.
I think, a lot of our goals. I know that's my goal.
Yeah. It is mind-blowing.
Can you just walk us through what is your channel? For people who are unfamiliar with your channel, what is Family History Fanatics? And
Okay.
how'd you guys start it?
Okay, well, that's really a long answer. I'll try to be brief. As Greg knows, I'm the rambler on the channel.
That's okay. We
So
got time. We got time.
time. So Family History Fanatics is a place where my husband and I teach people how to understand their DNA, climb their family tree, and write their ancestor stories along the way. Our core philosophy is that family history isn't fun, you're doing it wrong. And so in 2016, I started YouTube. I started pre-recorded videos on YouTube as a way to try to break into the genealogy education space as a speaker at conferences. What I learned very quickly, even before COVID, was that that is not the path that I'm supposed to be on. And so we just learned that there's tons of people that really want to learn about how to do their family history all around the world. And my husband is the DNA guy. And then I focus on teaching people how to research their family history and how to write their stories. And as Greg can tell you, if you're not writing your family stories, then you're really, really, really shortchanging the future. So that's what we're all about. And that's how we got started.
That's awesome. And well, so I have a lot of questions, but Kat, did you have any questions to start?
I no, I don't have a question, but I just think I really like what you just shared, especially around that idea of telling the story. So thank you for sharing that. That's some really good food for thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Stories is really where it is at. And I'll tell you, if you don't mind, why I'm so passionate about the stories is that in 2012, I lost my last living grandmother or grandparent, my grandmother, and I lost my last living parent. So on my family tree, my pedigree chart, all the names, dates, and places are all filled out for 4 generations. And then there's just me. And if I don't record the stories, they're gone. And I don't even know half the stories I wish I did know. And so for me, if you want to capture and preserve your family history, the stories matter. And I can't tell you a number of times I'll be talking to a distant cousin and she starts telling a story such as, yeah, Uncle Gene was adopted. I'm like, wait, what? Who? How? That totally messes up our family tree. And those stories have clues that lead me to records, and people know them, but if they don't record them, then I'm left scrambling and scratching my head and pulling it out. So stories are so important.
Yeah. That's great.
So what questions do you have, Paul?
Well, you brought up talking to distant family members. So I'm kind of curious, is there anything that has surprised you that you learned about your parents, or things that surprised you that you learned about your grandparents while doing this research, while being like a Sherlock Holmes of DNA?
Okay, so I didn't want to cry, but we're going there. So my father passed away in 2004, and prior to his death, there was a huge family feud. Now, he is an only child, and so he just had his grandparents, his parents, my grandparents, but he cut us off from his cousins and his aunts and his uncles and things of that nature. Well, when he passed away, I'm like, too bad for you. I'm going to climb my family tree, because I didn't really know very much about that side. My mother's side was very, very good at sharing stories and sharing records. And so when I started researching my dad's story, I learned that he is a descendant of German immigrants to Franklin County, Ohio, and Germans tend to drink a lot. And my German immigrant ancestors has a lot of alcoholism passing down from generation to generation to generation. Now, the week I was born, my dad joined a church that is against having alcohol. And he stopped cold turkey. He didn't go to counseling. He did it all on his own. And he slayed, speaking of unicorns, dragons, my father slayed the biggest dragon of all, which is generational alcoholism. But he still left a lot of other monsters in the forest. And wrongly, I saw the monsters that he didn't slay. I didn't know about the big monster that he did. And so when he passed away, I suddenly learned that my dad had just become my biggest hero. And I understood him better. I understood how hard he did try. And now I'm trying to build upon that legacy. So yes, he had shortcomings, but by finding my family history and seeing what he did solve, I was able to heal. And so for me, there's so much power in healing that going after that, that's not something I'm going to find on a death certificate. That's not something I'm going to find in a census record. By the way, Canadian census records are pretty awesome, just so you know. Anyway,
Good to know.
But that story, because I talked to his cousins, just healed me in so many ways I can't even begin to speak.
That's really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I just stopped everybody cold.
No, that is really powerful. And I'm like, well, I don't want to follow it up with like, so how do you promote your channel?
Oh, that's fine. You can.
What a terrible segue. So here's the thing that really I think is very interesting is that was for you, learning that and seeing your father in a different light and just learning about your family and the history. I mean, that sounds like a huge motivator for you to keep going and keep learning. How long into the genealogy process for you personally, you were just enjoying it, learning all this stuff. When did you think, oh, this could be a great YouTube channel? I love it. There might be an audience out there who loves it too.
Right, for sure. So in 2009, I started a blog where I would share my discoveries with my mother, because at that time I lived in Iowa and my mother lived in Houston, Texas, where I grew up. And so it was a great way for me to be able to tell her the discoveries that I found. Well, as I mentioned earlier, in 2012, she passed away. About that time, I'd been asked to speak at some local genealogy conferences, and I had always wanted to be a teacher. But I went into business because business people make more money. But I won't get off on a tangent. Let's just say that's not how it worked out. Anyway,
wait, that's not how it doesn't work out like that all the time.
No, actually, teachers can make more money than people with business degrees. But anyway, we can be off on a tangent. That's another topic for another day. In any case, so I was a home educator, and I loved having this opportunity to teach people. And the feedback I got was, oh my gosh, you simplify things, you give me actionable activities, and your enthusiasm is contagious. You should do more of this. So then I started trying to make this blog improve and break into speaking at genealogy conferences. I'd already written a couple of books as well and published them on Amazon. Not bestsellers, like, I didn't rake in the millions, but you got to start somewhere. And
you put yourself out there. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but I was just going to say you put yourself out there. That's huge.
Exactly.
To write a book is awesome.
Absolutely. And so in 2016, I thought, you know what? I'd been listening to this podcast, Grant Baldwin of the Speaker Lab podcast, and he was talking about making demo videos and putting them on YouTube and using that to try to get conference planners to hire you and book you in gigs. And so I tried doing that. And it turns out I didn't get many more gigs out of it, but I started getting a following. And then it was like, oh, why don't I just, not that I don't like speaking at conferences, but none of them are happening anytime soon in person. I can teach people in these short segments or live streams and really help them do the things that our channel wanted to do. So I started in 2016. My husband joined a channel in about 2017, mid-fall. We had my son, who was a teenager. Yes, teenagers can actually do family history. And so that was a fun addition to the channel. But now that he's off in college, it's just my husband and I, and that's how we kind of got started. And that's why I thought, well, let's just do this YouTube thing. YouTube told me that there was a need. And here's the other thing. Genealogy was not popular on YouTube when I tried this. There were videos that were put on in maybe like the 2010, and they'd have a lot of views, so vanity metrics, but just people were not on YouTube to learn about genealogy. So this is hard for me to say because I don't want to be prideful, but people have said it to me, so I'm going to regurgitate it. I rebuilt genealogy on YouTube. So as a platform for learning, and I still feel like a small channel. We were talking earlier that you've got 30,000 subscribers. We're like at 300, and in my head, I don't feel like I'm not that big. But then if you look at the metrics, I'm behind Family Search, Ancestry, and My Heritage, and then there's us, and it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, I just love when you told that story. You shared an example of how your initial reason for getting onto YouTube was to get those speaking gigs, but then you learned based on the feedback that you were getting, you weren't really booking things, but you were seeing this go. And it sounds like you identified a gap, which is perfect. That's one of the things that new YouTubers are encouraged to do, is to identify that there might be a missing piece, and you listen to that and you pivoted. And I think that's a really good example, because what we start out doing is not necessarily what we're going to end up doing, and you have to be open to be able to navigate with what your audience is actually looking for and what they're responding to. So I'm glad that you shared that story.
You're welcome. Yes, absolutely. That extracted what I was trying to get across with, that you've got to start. And you got to stop worrying about being perfect. If I can jump to some of my tips for other people coming along behind me.
Yeah, please.
You've got to start. Because if you don't start, then you can't improve. And don't be afraid of that initial feedback. I've made so many mistakes, but we have tried so many things. We've tried sitting on the couch and talking. We've tried demo videos or demonstration videos in different formats. We tried green screen. We tried live stream. We still keep up the live stream. We've tried so many different things. We've tried interviews, like we're doing here. I've done pre-recorded interviews. I tried a lot of different things to try to figure out where's our strengths, where can we improve, and I've gone through a lot of gear. But you got to start. And so the best piece of advice comes from Sean Cannell from Think Media, his YouTube channel. And your guest last week kind of talked about this too. And that is, start with what you've got and improve as you go. That was the single best piece of advice I heard when I started my YouTube channel. You just have to start and then make improvements along the way.
Yeah.
And to kind of like jump from your background, I love your background, so I want to just kind of jump to that real fast. Your background is awesome. There's so many cool things to take in and look at, but that's not how you began, right? Like when you guys began, you were green screening everything and then kind of like putting yourself on the video, correct?
Well, actually, that is you have to go back even further. We've kind of unlisted a number of our early videos because they're really kind of bad. We started sitting on a cat. So we started filming in my bedroom because we just didn't have any other place to be. We set up a camera and angled it so you could just get this corner of a couch and a bookcase. That's all we had. And then I have this really cool wrought iron work that was over our bed. So we did that for a while, but then it felt kind of funky to like have somebody see our headboard, even though they couldn't tell it was our headboard. And so then my husband's like, I'm tired of trying to clean up our house all of the time. Let's go green screen. And we did green screen for a while until David from Live Streaming Pros. See, I always have to give credit to people. I'm a genealogist. We cite our sources all the time. So I hope you don't mind me. I'm not name dropping. I'm citing my sources. So anyway, David from Live Streaming Pros was like, get rid of the green screen, get rid of the green screen. And we just had so many problems with green screens. I mean, my husband looks great because he's like, has next to no hair, or he'll shave it, whatever. But then I have all of this, and it's very problematic with green screen. And I have glasses, and there'd be times where I'd be doing a video, and then all of a sudden it'd be pink because the background was pink, and it would go across my glasses. And David's like, kill the green screen. And I'm so glad he did, because too many people are doing green screen with Zoom and it looks kind of funky. And I just want to keep upping my game. I know what my next improvement I want to be, which is my camera. I want it to be as clear as you guys. You guys have great clarity. But I have to start somewhere and then improve. And his recommendation was get rid of the green screen and then we'll work on the camera instead of work on the camera. And then, so yeah. I don't know if that answers your questions. It's kind of a circular.
No, that was fantastic. So when you did start, when you were just about to hit go live. I don't know if you can remember that far back, like when you were about to go live and thinking about it, was there anything
Mhm.
holding you back? Was there any concern? Because you did say the most important thing, which is just you just got to do it.
Right.
But was there
So
anything that you had to overcome?
yeah, a lot. So we didn't start live streaming. So our channel started in August of 2016, and I went and double checked. We started live streaming in April of 2018, and I seem to remember, and I could be wrong, but I seem to remember that you had to hit 5,000 subscribers before you could even start live streaming. So I didn't have the metrics that YouTube needed in order for me to qualify for that, and I think it's changed since then. So the biggest hurdle was I didn't have the big enough audience. The next one was I didn't know how to do it. So that's when my husband went and he learned about OBS and learned about green screen and learned about all these different things. And let's try it. And we'd already started doing some green screen, and then he had every other Friday off. So that became our schedule because he works full time. And so we went live. And in my mind, I thought, oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to do news, and then we're going to tell people about the upcoming things that we have going on. And then we're going to get to what we told people we're going to talk about and talk about change and listening to the audience. Oh, we quickly found that people didn't like it. And so we cut out the news segment. We cut out promoting ourselves. And if we said we're going to talk about comparing death certificates and gravestones, which one's the most reliable, we're going to get to that as soon as possible. And so what was holding us back a little bit was the hurdle, the obstacle, but I think that's removed for most people now. And then I didn't know how to do it. So my husband figured it out.
They definitely don't have that hurdle because we have 40 subscribers and we go live every week. So
Right.
definitely don't have that.
Yeah. And, I think about it and I think which is better. When I went live every day in April after lockdown began, my husband hadn't lost his job yet. We went live every day, and I felt like, what's really great about this is I get out of the mindset, because it's the one shift I had to make was if I mess up, I can't cut it out. Like I can't edit it out, if I scratch my nose, and we were scratching our nose all the time. We would go live, we turn on that camera and all of our nose starts scratching. Or invariably somebody would start mowing their lawn, like right next to our house. I'm like, go over there, go on Wednesday, not Friday. Anyway, you can tell that I'm pretty enthusiastic. Mm-hmm. That's why we're the Fanatics. Anyway, how is it going?
Oh, April. You started learning some lessons in April when you're going live every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So live stream, the great thing about going live stream now is that you can produce content a whole lot faster. You sit down, you film, you're over, you're done. If you go back and edit it, that's wasted time. And so the other thing is, it's nice somebody there from the beginning interacting. If you have one person show up and watch your, you thank the Lord somebody there's interacting with you. And so it is kind of nice to be able to start like a small channel doing the live stream. But we actually had like 16 people at our live, and that was kind of fun. But we only had 5,000 people when we started. YouTube, here's a hack. Start a mailing list. Start a mailing list now. We didn't until we had like 25,000 subscribers start a mailing list. And now we're trying to tell people when we're going live, when we're releasing a new, and YouTube doesn't always share your videos to everybody. And so anyway, heck, you can ask any questions.
Oh, I should not mute myself. This is great. So you started a mailing list. Do you mail people every week and let them know, like, here's the schedule for the entire week? Or are you emailing them every day? Like, what's kind of the regular pattern you're going for?
Yep. Great question. Well, our audience is segmented into people who care more about DNA, people who care about writing, and people who care about research tips. And then just people who want to know everything that's going on. So what I try, Greg can tell you that I don't always do it, Greg in the chat. I try to send out an email every Monday with the new Monday video that's coming out, which is a premiere video. So it's a pre-recorded, and then we have a watch party. Wednesday's video, the premiere and the watch party, and then link to the upcoming live stream that happens every other Friday. So the weeks we don't have a live stream, then I try to throw in some like past video. Then on Wednesday, I send out a video, and that's Wednesday is usually our DNA day. And so I have it segmented to just the folks who said, hey, I want to know about DNA. And so I let them know when the DNA video is going out. And then depending on the content of the live stream, if it's writing, research, or DNA, then I hit one of those two people as a reminder for Friday. So yeah, that's what we do.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, any problem. I mean, no problem.
Sorry, Kat, I'm asking a lot of questions. Is that okay?
No apologies.
Okay.
No apologies necessary.
Interrupt me whenever you want. So I have a question. This is kind of, well, I'm sure there are, so I'd love to know what they are. Are there systems you use, because you guys are creating a lot of content, you're putting out a lot of videos. Are there systems, are there like little hacks that you found really helpful to get the work done? And I mean, it could be like and this is not something I didn't ask you this in the pre-show or anything. So,
sorry.
So, but I mean, is there anything from like your setup? I don't know, anything at all that helps you a lot to get the work done?
Yeah. Great question. I'm still developing a better system. I'm always trying to be better. Again, I just want to be better than other educators, because if I'm better than, and that seems kind of like competitive, but what I'm trying to say is I constantly want to improve so that people like Greg, who I'm so glad you're there, Greg, they will keep wanting to come back, and they will follow me everywhere I go, because they know that I'm going to try to deliver good value. And so that's what I'm trying to say. I'm always trying to be better. So I'm always working on my system. Because we're a demo channel, and because we teach principles, we use Google Slides to do all of our, tips and tricks. And then we do our demos and whatever the platform, Ancestry, MyHeritage, WikiTree, I could go on. So the biggest hack that we have is film in batches. So my husband filmed 5 videos for me 2 weeks ago. I've released 2. I have 3 more to go. And somewhere in that time period, he'll release another 5 videos. And then at the same time, I will go and do 5 batches. Now for our live stream, I'm still working on improving the live stream platform. I took the LIDA challenge with you guys. That's how we met. Mm-hmm. And I'm really trying to implement a lot of the strategies they have there of really having bullet pointed of where I want things to go, and then thinking, all right, I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to create extra content. So like you stop your live stream, and then you can go into Q&A, and then that Q&A becomes little micro content, to use the fancy buzzword, but the little bitty content, and then I can share that in other platforms. So I'm still working on that. But the biggest hack is 1, batches, and 2, constantly have an idea plan going. And a lot of it comes from comments. People will say, hey, I don't know how to find my father. You said that in your description, Mr. Paul. But I try to have a running list of questions people ask, and then I try to look at, what are other educators talking about? What are opportunities that they're not asking, but they should be asking? But I just always have a running list of ideas going.
So Greg is throwing out a couple things. One, he's like, hey, talk about what you did when you went into lockdown initially. And then he also asks, or you haven't mentioned the members perks yet. So do you offer members perks? And what did you do during lockdown initially?
So he was touching on the fact, I did kind of touch on it. Every day, starting in lockdown, I went live. Okay. I implemented augmented some pre-recorded videos, because we take Sundays off. I don't do anything on Sunday related to the business. But a pre-recorded video actually did go live then. But yeah, every single day I was going live, and I had some stream failures. Oh, by the way, what I bet what he's trying to say is I went live every day. Normally, my husband is there, but my husband was still working at that time.
Oh.
And so I had to figure out all the tech, which was my scary hurdle because normally he did it all. So I had to figure out the tech, learn how to watch the chat and interact with Greg and everybody else. And then and try not to do too many squirrels, which Loria talked about. But anyway, so yeah, every day I was in the hot seat trying to produce content. And I had times when a demo website that I wanted to tell people about crashed, and they're like, oh, well, we're done, click. And so right about that time, also YouTube was like, hey, you have so many people on your channel now. Why don't you have channel memberships? And we had been kicking around the idea because we have a lot of seminars and some other presentations that we thought, well, why don't we offer this to people? And so we started offering channel memberships. So the FHF Extra, the community helped us name our channel perks. And for like $2.99 a month, then they get a bonus deep dive research training. So my husband will take, not every month, but every other month or so, he'll take a specific DNA research question and dive really, really deep into that one person's question. Where generally when we have a Q&A, he can just, scratches the surface on how to do it. But in our live training, he goes deep dive. I will do writing sample review, teach people how to improve their writing that they've already started, or we'll take research questions and take you through the path of where to look. We won't solve it for you because our whole philosophy is teaching you how to do yourself. And then, so we have one live stream for our members a month, and then we have a pre-recorded seminar that either we gave in person or we gave at another environment or we just created just for our channel members. And so we give that. And then they have a deep archive of past content that we reserve just for our members. That's what we do.
That sounds,
there's lots of places to go. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think those are great examples of things, the extra value, like what are you going to get for that membership? Because sometimes people are maybe stretching it, but I feel like those are really great examples of how you can offer something extra for those people who are really just the big fans or fanatics,
right.
Maybe you could say. And the other thing I want to draw attention to is that I've noticed you're getting amazing feedback from people who are followers of your channel. And in particular, Greg says we love the humanness of the oops that happens from time to time. And I think that's a really important message for people who are new to the live streaming, is that we can overthink the tech and what if it doesn't work and all these things can happen. Right. But when we mess up, when we goof, when something goes blank, you just roll with it and you're human. And I think usually the viewer, as Greg is saying, they connect with that because it's human and you're not going to have perfection, but you're just showing up for your audience. And it sounds like you guys are really delivering at a high level that's resonating with your viewers.
I'm humbled. I feel like bashful from the Seven Dwarfs right now. I know we work really, really hard, and to know that's being received well, what more can someone ask for? I mean, yes, I still want to eat and live indoors. So I do want to be compensated. But I think the compensation comes when you connect with people on an individual level. And the other thing I did is in our emails. So on YouTube, I never know who's going to come by, and they don't care too much about my story and what we've gone through. But in my emails, I've told people about how I overcame cancer 2 years ago. And I've told people about Andy losing his job. And I told people about how we had to move from Texas to New Mexico and how hard it was. And we moved in and how much we're struggling. We really want to put out content. And I even asked people, I was like, can I take this week off? And they're like, yeah, duh. You were there for us. You were there for us at the beginning of COVID. Let us be there for you. And it's been, this year has been really, really hard. And our fans have been the reason how I can get through. There's even more than COVID. There's just family dynamics and stuff going on. And they have been there for us. And I think, if we keep that small town mentality, if you will, as we grow, then people want to come. And I wish I would have known that when I started. Like, focus on the people, share your humanity. That's one thing. So if you ask me, because there was a question that Paul sent, said, what was one video that helped you prepare? And it really wasn't one video that helped me prepare, but there is a series that helped me change my focus going forward. And that was the Lead It Challenge, live every day in August. Talked about getting vulnerable, talking about your experience. And then the other thing that I learned, this is from the Income School channel. They were talking about how to write a good blog post. And they said, be the friend, not the expert. And if I'm the friend, I'm going to tell you about how to climb your family tree, but we're also going to talk about what's going on in our life, right? And that way we build, like, and trust me enough that if Paul says, hey, how do I find my daddy? I mean, I don't know anything about you, but you did put that in the description. But then he knows that if I don't know the answer, because I'm the friend, not the expert, I will go figure out how to help him figure that out, right? And that's what I'm trying to strive for. And I wish I had that mentality when I first started. I think I would have gotten out of my own way and focused on helping a Paul, a Kat, a Greg, a Kathy, I think is there, and some of the other folks. I think I would have connected with them sooner if I had just gotten out of my way and just been the friend.
Also, I should know that I should mention that I do know who my father is. That was meant as a joke. And
I was reading the description for this thing, and it said, who your real father is. And I'm like, okay, that's really loaded.
It's big. It's going to get somebody to, I know who my father is. Although, we did have a milkman, but
drop that little nugget.
I know who my father is.
So I want to.
My mother can never see this. My mother can never see this.
Never watch this stream.
See, there my nose scratching. There's my humanness.
Ron said, great advice, and I want to echo that. I think that is stellar advice around be the friend, not the expert, and how would a friend talk to the people who are showing up. And I think that is just wonderful. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's great.
Yeah. I want to bring value to you guys because you guys are working really hard and I really like what you're trying to do. So if I can help, that's what I'm here for.
Also, I want to I would really want to highlight Greg's message too, about when you guys went every day. He said, from the other side of the screen, it was so nice to have something to look forward to every day when there was so much else stuff going on that was not all positive. So that's such a huge gift you were giving people, an opportunity to connect and let all the other stuff go for a little bit. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Anyway. Yeah. Wow. I think it was in Lita. Was it in Lita? It was either Lita or Women of YouTube with Desiree Martinez. One of the two said, if you have value to offer to people, it is like, I think they went so extreme. It said unethical and unmoral for not just show up and give value. It was pretty extreme in that way. And I was just like, I'm going to give value. I'm going to give of myself, and I'll do what I can until I can't. And then if I can't, then, something good else will kind of, I recently had, so going back to conferences, right? I've had a number of conferences just cancel on me this year. And that was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking. How do you tell your audience? It was rejected by every single conference I submitted to. However, somebody else came and said, I have a project for you. And I'm going, oh, really? Okay. And so you just have to be open. When one door closes, another one opens. And so, Kat, you were saying earlier that you were taking a pause this week. You weren't sure what platform to be on. I don't know if this is a good time to segue to a thought I had, because it actually answers one of Paul's questions that you sent to me, but like advice for new streamers. But this is a piece of advice that I got from Desiree Martinez from Women of YouTube. And she had said, if your topic isn't connecting on a specific platform, you have two choices. one, you can change your platform, or two, you can spread your message wider. So I struggle with a lot of our writing videos. They don't connect very well on YouTube. And so in 2021, I had hoped to do it by October, October 1st, and it's now November, so it's obviously not happening. But I'm going to take some of my writing stuff, the stuff that I know people need to hear, and go put it on Facebook, put it on IGTV, put it on other platforms, chop it up and make it stories, and really take that content that I already have and put it in other places. And who knows, maybe I'll pivot my live streams to be over on Facebook, because my audience, my target audience, you got to know your target audience. My target audience is 55 and up. Usually, if I aim for 55 and up, I'll pick 45 and 35. But anyway, most people who are 55 and up are not on YouTube. They're over on Facebook. And so that one piece of advice that I'm going to be implementing, because even at 30,000 subscribers, I still have to improve. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is take the content that I know is valuable that people are looking for and just put it in other places, and try to get some traction that way. And because YouTube is our home base. It's our home base. It's where we're going to do everything else. But if we can increase brand awareness and take topics that people need, want, and desire into the place where they're at, then maybe we can also bring them back to YouTube, take us to a website, get them on our email newsletter, and so on and so forth, and keep it all connected.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I always appreciate advice. And I think, there are different perspectives of how you look at whether you're moving platform, or maybe you have to pivot a little bit content or figure out the best way to deliver that content to your audience. Yeah. So thank you for sharing. I like that.
Well, thank you for being open, because I'm like, oh, hey, I want to talk about that, and it fit nicely. So I hope it fit nicely right there.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing the idea that YouTube is your home base. I love that idea of having a home base and then trying stuff, but you always have that home base available. That's a great way to look at it. If people,
this is stuff I'm learning, I'm still learning right along with you guys. And I hope that you guys are finding value, that we're struggling along together.
This is awesome. And I have a feeling a lot of people watching right now already are following you. But if there are people who are not, where could they find you?
Well, the best way is to get very familiar with typing in Family History Fanatics. If you type it in Google, if you type it into YouTube, you're going to get to our channel, or you're going to get to our website. I will be honest, Facebook is probably going to get some attention in 2021. It doesn't have a ton of attention right now. But yeah, Family History Fanatics, type that in and you'll find us.
Oh, and awesome. Real quick, I know we're going pretty long, but Dewey Jones is wondering, what's the history of Mulvihill? I don't know who that question is directed at. I don't know.
I pointed the wrong way.
Never mind. Yeah.
Well, it would be, you never know when someone knows something out of the blue. So what I know, and actually as Devon was talking about what she does, I realized that my dad has spent a lot of time learning his family's history and ancestry. And there's actually a Mulvihill newsletter, which is pretty cool. And my dad has submitted things. So I've learned things about my family and my great grandparents. So they came over from Ireland to Canada and the Ontario region and a few different areas of Ontario. And when I read the article that my dad submitted to the Mulvihill newsletter, I learned all these things about my family. And it's that story that's a really big part of it. And I don't know that I would have learned that, or wouldn't have thought to ask him that question. So it is Irish. Now, when I've gone to Ireland, I've had people give me different pronunciations, which has been interesting. So I say Mulvihill. One person in Ireland said Mulvihill, which I don't hear that very often, but there is. And so there is a contingent of Mulvihills also in sort of the, I want to say, what's that area of like the northeast of the U.S. as well. It seems to have a Mulvihill contingent.
The New England area.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and here's something that you might enjoy. So my Canadian ancestors, the Comforts, they actually were loyalists. So there were two brothers, and one stayed with the American Revolution side and stayed in the United States. And mine, Jacob Comfort, went, he was a loyalist. He went to Ontario, and he started the Comfort Farm because he got land for being a loyalist. And there was a maple tree. The oldest maple tree in Ontario, Canada, is the Comfort Maple. And now it's like trying to fall over. And so it has all these things to keep it up. But it made its way onto a postage stamp. There was a series of postage stamps of the different famous maples in Canada, and the Comfort Maple was featured in a thing. And there was a newspaper article that a Comfort relative sent to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so fun. So yeah, newspapers are really great, or newsletters or something, a great way to find out about your family history.
Yeah.
So there's my Canadian root.
A fun little thing on the other side, because I feel like, Devon, if I'm not wrong, you have some family in the Niagara region. Is that right? Did I remember that?
I
feel like yeah. So
right,
the escarpment. Yeah, you're right. So one of my sort of fun facts when people are asking for a fun fact is that on my mother's side, I am related to Laura Secord, who the Canadians will probably recognize. I'm not sure about the US, but she was a big part of the War of 1812. She actually warned the Canadians, a couple of, if I remember correctly, my Canadian history, a couple of drunk Americans showed up at her house and talked about their plans, and she went through the night and she navigated on her own on foot to go warn the Canadians about the plan, the upcoming plan. Correct me if I'm wrong.
She's the Northern Paul
any
Revere.
Of the Canadians in here. Sorry?
Okay. No, she's the Northern Paul Revere. She's the Canadian Paul Revere. Paul Revere is the one that protected us. Well, not protected us.
Okay.
But he went around shouting. And
Paul and the other guy. There were two.
Oates. I think it was Paul and Oates.
Paul and Oates.
No, that would be Hall and Oates, and they were famous in the 80s.
You got me.
Well, and with Laura Secord, her name now sometimes is more synonymous with jam and chocolate, because there's actually a company called Laura Secord, and they make jam and chocolate. But they do have her head on a chocolate coin, I believe. And no, I do not get any free chocolate or jam, because I get asked that.
Yeah.
But we're always open to sponsorship.
Oh, I don't know if the timing of that, Greg, that if you asked the chocolate before I said that, but I just saw that and looked down.
That's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. It's fun. It's fun. But one of the things I've learned in my family history is people say, so tell me who you're related to. I'm like, a professor, a bread man, or a milkman, and a drunk. And we learn from all of them. Family history isn't full of just all of the best people in the world. And this isn't just counting the Laura Secord. Those are fun stories. They absolutely are. But it's also, the mom who adopted, the woman who couldn't have children, who adopted my grandmother and loved the snot out of her, Laura Maud Smith. I idolize her. I want to be that kind of mom, so it's really fun to make sure we capture the stories of our families, even if they're the drunks, because the drunks lead to, as I got tying back to what I said earlier, knowing the bad helps you see who was the cycle breaker, who was the person that overcame, and that you can overcome too. So, and then the cool people, well, then you need to try to live up. How is Kat going to be a Laura Secord? What are you going to do to offer something of value to the world? And it doesn't have to be huge, right? I mean, she did something huge, but we don't have to
pretty huge.
Well, just go find a bunch of drunk Americans, listen in, see if there's anything interesting, and then go share it.
There you go.
Save a war. Yeah.
Go save a war. Devon.
But I think that's a great point, that there are those fun little stories, but that, yes, the people who maybe aren't in a headline or whatnot, it's just as important to learn about their history and all of that. So I think that's really good. Paul, over to you.
Oh, I was going to say, Devon, thanks so much for jumping on and hanging out with us and sharing really, really valuable information. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Anytime. I hope what I have can help somebody just be a little bit better than they were last week.
Cool. And go check it out. Family History Fanatics. We'll talk to you later. Bye. That was great.
Yeah, and I see that Greg did ask the question about the chocolate before I said it. I swear I did not look. That is just a common question.
um,
Mm-hmm.
we're over an hour, so just to respect everybody's
Wrap this up.
time,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap this up pretty quick. Kat, what are you working on this week?
Well, I think tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week will continue to be a break while I kind of work on this, figuring this out. But I do not want to do that indefinitely. So I will give you an update next week on how that's going, where my head's at. And like with Devon, if people out there have any feedback or suggestions that they would like to share, I am definitely open to hearing it. I'm in an exploratory phase. That's what I'll call it. How about you, Paul?
Real quick, Greg, thanks for hanging out and watching. And I'm glad it's your first time. I hope subscribe. We always have new live streamers talking about their experience, sharing information. So thanks for hanging out. And Andy, I didn't mess up at all this week. It was really a flawless week. So I guess I wasted money on a bunch of marbles because I don't fail. No,
Now,
I for sure.
for those of you who are new to us and you're like, marbles, what are you talking about? Paul has some marbles and he moves a marble every time he makes a mistake. It kind of looks. This is my setup right now. I haven't moved too many marbles. This is for a business. Maybe I'll share about that later. And then Paul has his marbles. So Paul moves a marble when he makes a mistake because the more mistakes you make, the quicker you improve. So we talk about marbles on this channel sometimes. That just happens. So no marbles this week. Oh, wait, no, you got a marble because your screen went black.
Yeah, so no, all truth, all transparency. I know it's over 40, but I don't know. I know it's over 40. That much I know. So I've had a lot of little mess ups this week, but hey, you know what? I'm learning. Life is about learning.
Yeah.
What am I working on this week? Well, a couple things. One, I'm trying to, and I'll add the comments or I'll add the links in the show description. I realized a really great way of going and seeing a lot of cool things on either YouTube or Twitch. There's thousands of Twitch channels. So the idea that you can go watch one and get a ton of ideas, kind of difficult. So this is my hack. I went to YouTube. I typed in Twitch moments. Turns out a lot of people are just putting together compilation videos of great Twitch moments. So if you go do that, you can see a ton of cool things that people have done, get ideas, and then go use that if you want to. So one thing, so there's multiple channels dedicated to just Twitch highlights. One of the things I'm noticing, like a through line between a lot of these great moments, is they're not happening in a studio. A lot of people on these compilation videos are highlighting moments where people have their phone out in the world doing stuff rather than just in the safety confines of a studio. So this week, at least once, I want to go live stream, whether I'm just going for a walk and talking to people or sitting on a rock and looking at a sunset. I'm going to need to find a rock. I know where to find a sunset. Humble brag, sky. So I don't know, but that's what I want to do. I want to do more stuff that is out in the world.
IRL, right?
Yeah.
That's what the kids say.
In real life. BTW.
Nice. I think that's a good idea and a nice observation. So I liked your hack about how to find some good quality Twitch content, but also noticing that a lot of that content is not from the confines of the studio and breaking out of that mold. I think that is really helpful.
It's in the world. So anything else, Kat? I'm out of words.
No, I think this has been a fun show filled with lots of amazing knowledge. I am so thankful for everything that Devon shared, and I'm excited to see your IRL. I just can't do it. I'm excited to see your sunset stream. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yep.
Sunset on a rock.
Just me looking at the sunset, sharing deep thoughts, slowly going blind, because you shouldn't look at the sun.
And with that, folks.
Well, as the kids say, BRB next Wednesday.